perfectly clear. Whoever monster sells this should be up there with Philip Morris and the tobacco community. You can't even throw in the garbage can.
ValTracker offers top weapon stats, headshot percentage stats, top agent stats, an insane match history tab.
Today is a little bit different. We have the entire ranked spectrum all condensed into quite a small video. They're not swift plays like my usual every ranked video. Instead, they're full-fledged games, and each team who wins actually wins Valorant points. This allows it to be extremely sweaty, and there's another little twist. This was all co-hosted and co-streamed with another streamer named Tokibi. With all this happening live to hundreds of viewers, the pressure was really on to perform. Now, everyone participating in the video on her team were her Twitch subs, on my team were my Twitch subs. The very first game on Bind started with a bronze and silver team on both of our sides, and then the next game, which was on Icebox, was gold and plats. The game following that were diamond and ascendants, and the very final game were ascendants and immortals, with like the highest ranks being like mortal 3, so just a little under radiant. Now, what's gonna be fun is actually seeing how the ranks make a massive difference on the gameplay as me and Toki analyze and comment it, and it was a ton of fun. Now, starting on Bind with our lowest ranks, you're immediately going to see a ton of mistakes, but by the end of this video, when we hit the high ranks, you're going to see some insane gameplay. So enjoy the bottom to the top of Valorant, all condensed into one video. The ping difference! Dude, the ping difference!
5-3?
Oh my god. Oh wait, 1 for 1!
Bro, I'm actually so good at this flipping game, dude.
Hey, I'm in you now. I'm about to shit on you, boy.
Yeah, I remember the days when I used to. I don't. Funny how this shit different. Like before, to the new thing. And if I need more, to the new thing. I be gone by the months. I be calling my.
Bolts running right into that epoxy. Probably could have gotten
gang in this bitch, shoot me, gang in this bitch, gang.
I won't go back. My phone fell.
Interior designer, and I have done a horrible job of managing her expectations leading into it. And so as I got the wood surface, I showed her some novels, and she just told me, I don't like those, they shouldn't be there. And I didn't know what to tell her. I was like, I was doing my best to do this novel, and that's my fault because I did not manage her expectations. I did not tell her, this is an natural product. There's so many things that come up, some things that are even man-made that are unexpected, like that bullet. We just have to do our best to work around them and work with them, and that's what I'm doing. I'm essentially making a big solid wood inlay, so I have a perfectly secure mounting point for the table base. A few months ago, I tried my hand at doing my very first patchwork table, and I think the patchwork design is super cool. A lot of people don't like it, and I think that's fine because it is a very unique style. But that's essentially what I'm trying to do here. Even though this is on the patchwork table, everything I learned here was from doing that patchwork table. And what I do is I cut this large recess, and there's always a bunch of little spots I miss with the router, so it's usually quicker for me to come back with the chisel and just clean them up here. I do need to square the corners off because the method that I use needs nice sharp corners, so I cut everything to a perfect 90, and then I use my tablecloth to trim it down to the exact size. And this really only works if you have a very accurate table saw, so I'd make a few cuts, and I can see there's just barely wood in there, and then I use my miter saw to cut the other edge. And now I'm just hoping it's snug, but not too tight, but you really only get one chance at this, so you have to get it just right. And I felt like I had it about right there, and when you're doing an inlay like this, it's always useful if you can have a slight chamfer or bevel on the underside. And this was such a big piece, I decided to use my 45-degree router bit, and this will, 1, enable it to go in a little bit easier, but 2, get the glue somewhere to go when you put it in. You guys probably don't realize that there is a lot of footage that goes into these videos for this 3-table package. We have about 8.5 hours of footage, and I'm always going to be working in more efficient because I can keep all my footage forever. But occasionally I'm reminded why we record so much material, and here's a good example of it. Yeah. Alright, what is first? Smooth out the big patch, smooth it well-standard,
Bruh.
Yeah. That little built-in break we had there, everything actually went exactly as I was hoping. It sat just proud enough, but not too proud that it was a big nightmare to flatten. For a nice, solid, smooth surface and not full of
Yeah, but what's the point of using filters?
I've mentioned a couple times that a lot of the rules are out of control.
Why? It's not really as smart. If you have that mindset, you'll never get anywhere. I said if you have that mindset, you'll never get anywhere in life.
The flexibility to work around some of these natural defects.
What my sister said. Yeah, she's downstairs right now.
And all my measurements is perfect, and it's gonna actually line up exactly how I'd imagine.
I have 2 little brothers, but they're out of town right now with my mom.
No, wait, oh no.
And it's not uncommon, but I wasn't expecting this many, so I can cut more off this, but then if I do that, it can still be cracked. Now I'm making that other end have less margin for there.
Hey.
Know exactly what to do.
Where are you going?
Kick my team's ass. I know, we're kind of going insane. It's tough though because you guys are defense. I feel like attack is a little easier.
You're already being nice. I was gonna be hella hype for my team.
That's over here. I got the big
You thought I was gonna be talking poop.
A small one left here, but you feel good with it.
Solid nade from Mateo. Got Pom Pom pretty low, but they have a shorty.
I really like the look of this one.
Oh no.
After on the end.
U-Haul control. U-Haul is controlled.
Exactly how I've done.
It's gonna be so hard unless they pinch together. Mateo is pushing through spawn though. Nice. Let's go.
As a father who works full-time, I wanted to do an example to show them that even though education and your dreams can be difficult to achieve, it's worth pursuing that goal. This is my comeback. Start yours at purdueglobal.edu.
You bought balance skins. Just how awesome would it be to have your dream skin collection where you can stop?
But finally, I've learned to combine these two methods. And make one final calipat, and that leaves it. This video is a little bit going pretty well so far. This dining table is shaping up exactly as I was hoping it would. I haven't blown up any router bushes. Doing the edge profile on this desk, everything is looking good. Everything until I got to do the edge profile on the console table, and then we ran into trouble. I feel like sometimes it tends to be a little bit more when I'm talking with them. With these tables, I'm panicking right now. I feel like I might actually too. They're all genuine concerns and genuine problems, but I'm going to try not to overdo this one, but it really isn't good. Basically, this wood is twisted obviously, so it's not just got a little bit of a bow in it, it's got a twist, and I think the only thing I can do from here is actually take it into the CNC and resurface, and then hopefully it'll stay flat after that, but not great. This is another good reason why it's important to keep your pieces as large as possible, as long as possible, and that's not just the length and the width, but also the thickness, because if I had said I wanted it surfaced right down to that 1.75 inches from the beginning, and then I got to twist it, I wouldn't have enough wood left over to get a nice looking table. It wouldn't have to be perfectly flat.
Okay. Yeah.
So
let's fight. You want to fight? Let's fight.
Twist with the CNC, run it through the wide belt sander, and I'd still have a 1.75 inch table and it's perfectly flat now. I really want to thank over I had no problem coming up. I reached out to Hayden, even the CNC, Normally CNC appointments take like a couple of weeks to get, and they got me, I think, the same day or maybe even the next day through a quick flattening, and it really meant a lot to me and saved me. I did not have weeks to spare on this project, and now I'm able to get home, get this round over, continue my edge profile. No chamfer on that one, but I did have some holes that needed to be filled, and this is kind of fun, but it can be a real challenge too. I'm colorblind. You know what it is? Hold on, I got what I need. I'm on the camera, I need that. Yeah. See? Yeah. I don't know. I'm not looking at this gun. Are you where they should be? No. Right. This method to fill small holes was really fun and kind of challenging and a new skill to learn, but I actually found a better way to do it, but it doesn't work for every single hole, and I'll show you that method here in a couple minutes. But for now, all I'm doing is making a toothpick that runs across the grain, essentially, so it can hopefully keep the grain running the right direction. You get a nice snug fit there, and this is always a good challenge. I've done this before. Sometimes they break, sometimes they don't, and sometimes the wood just doesn't work as good as I thought it would. It's gonna break. This one is that one I think. Is that better method for filling a hole than I'm using earlier? This is called a plug cutter, and I used these a couple of years ago, but I haven't used it in a long time, and I realized I like to use it correctly at first. What you want to do is you want to go all the way down like I do here, and that creates a nice slight taper, and that's kind of the magic of these plugs, because if you drill a 1/4 inch hole and it's off by 130 inches or so, this plug continues to taper, and so it will just keep going down until you get that perfect fit, and it's really quite genius. No drill bit, no router bit are ever exactly what they say they are. It's not going to be exactly 25000. It's always going to be off by a little bit, and this plug makes up for that. I make a lot of jokes on this channel, and most of the time they're intentional. Most of the time I like antagonizing certain people because they amused me, and hopefully agree with some of you out there too, like the incredibly sensitive Beatles fans, or the anti-circumcision crowd that, despite their name, have incredibly thin skin. I am almost always intentionally antagonizing them because I think everybody can toughen up a little bit. However, in a recent video, I was talking about this steel press that I'm doing, and I said that it was made in Taiwan, it was part of China, because I am legitimately an ignorant American and did not know they were different. I looked it up, and Taiwan is named the Republic of China, and China is called the People's Republic of China. They are incredibly different things, apparently, and I genuinely do apologize to anybody that offended there, because that was legitimately just dumb. And if anybody doesn't know why that was such a big mistake, apparently saying that Taiwan is part of China is just like saying that Ukraine is part of Russia, or when someone from Houston that Texas is just another state. They're things that you just don't say. I didn't mention it earlier, and I'm wondering why are there so many holes in the slab. These are all where they check the moisture content of these slabs that are drying, and since that last video we had such a problem with the trap moisture in the wood, they wanted to make extra sure that the slab was extra dry, so there was more paint than there normally is, and I didn't love it, but I did love having perfectly dry wood that we knew was completely dry all the way through, so I was fine with these holes, and you can see that they're not perfect. If you know what I like to do, they are about what I can do. How's it looking? The one you get fit together. The other one that we did earlier. You see that one? Yeah. You were gonna be on that. See that one? That's my balls. The other one's not so much better. Okay, let's do it. years that I've been woodworking professionally, one of the things I've never regretted is taking the extra time to fix something that I knew I could do better. I've regretted not doing it plenty of times, but you think, oh, it's going to take me another 20 minutes, it's taking another hour, it's taking another day, you're never going to regret spending that time, but you might look at those piece and realize, you know, I could have done better, I wish I would have just made it right, and I think this is a really good example of one of those pieces. Well, I did my very best, but I know some of you are going to say, hey, I can see that dot from here, you did a horrible job. Well, guess what? This is a natural dot of the wood. These are the plugs that we felt that you didn't notice, so... apparently the people between some people are the ones who can be sensitive, and anyway, I needed to find a way to fill these cracks on the table, and I didn't want to just fill them aesthetically, I actually wanted that epoxy to soak down into them and really help hold them shut, because some of them weren't fairly deep, and most of them weren't very wide, so I had to just kind of feather the epoxy down in and spend a good couple hours just come back every so often, just trickling in a little bit more of this epoxy, and I did add some bow ties to the underside for a couple of the big cracks. Didn't show that in the video because basically we can be adding a couple of bow ties, and we've all seen that too many times, but this epoxy I just feel like is pretty important to really spend the time to get it soaked down deep into those cracks. This piece had a and cracks, and you stand back and look at it, it looks like a pretty solid piece. A lot of cracks, a lot of knot holes. However, when you get to it, there was a frightening number of these tiny little imperfections, so I spent much longer than usual to paint. This is the CA glue. I highly recommend this thick gel CA glue. It works a little bit better than the Princep, which tends to just soak down into the wood. And it is kind of a fun process for the first 5 minutes. The next 3 hours, not so much. They make a black CA glue that's really nice colored, but I feel like it's a little too thin, and it ends up soaking into the wood and actually stains the wood. So what I do is I mix that black with that gel, I mix kind of a medium thick version of that same black CA glue. Anytime you need to fill the holes that should stay black. Most of the time I just use clear, but I do like using black when I'm touching the actual epoxy itself. I continued working with 3 tables, and at this point in the project, I was pretty much sending them daily updates of what was happening, and I'm always very self-conscious of being the contractor from that episode of Plan called bugging him every 5 minutes with a new question. So I always have a conversation before we start saying, hey, I can send you frequent updates, I can send you occasional updates, or I can not send you any updates. And so far, pretty much everybody seemed to say more updates. We got all the updates, and I feel like I would want updates too, but I'm really curious, would you guys actually want updates daily, or would that be too much? Having previously built all 3 of these tables is I already had all the legs and the table base just sitting around waiting to be installed. I was a little nervous having to store these for an extra 8 months in a relatively small shop, didn't even them being or chipped or anything like that, but somehow they managed to stay in good shape with the new system and plates. They had a nice fit. This one I was terrified getting up and down the stairs. I was so worried that we would chip that one or dent it. And this is a spider table base. He's made of Bryson steel. He made it really for me in the past. This is really one of my favorite table bases for any of the dining tables I use. I heard those slightly misleading. It's just something to the effect of 95% of all automobile accidents occur within a half-mile of home. So you need to be extra diligent before you make a drive. And your participant never actually mentioned it. Close to home. That's the point they're trying to make is it's easy to get to the place where you're almost into something, and that definitely does apply to woodworking. And these threaded inserts are a perfect point of that, because it would be so easy to just kind of hurry this along and forget to set your depth. I've had friends that have gotten to this point of the project, forget to set their depth on that thread insert and blow through the top of the table with that drill bit. So just a reminder, go all the way through the finish line, pay attention until you're all the way in your garage. I'm wetting this slab down. I'm getting a little bit of PTSD from that first debacle table build that had the 3 tables that were ruined from trapped moisture, and mentioned earlier, I want to remind everybody that Wagner is giving away the 3 Orion 950, the $550 moisture meters, and I could ask them for a bunch of money to plug their product instead. I asked them to give product away to you guys, so I hope you enjoy it, and I hope the 3 winners enjoy it as well. One detail on that, there's a link in the video description below. It is essentially the flossing of the wood people. It is totally tedious. Nobody likes doing it. Everybody lies about how often they do it, but it is incredibly necessary. And I won't make you watch me floss this entire table. Instead, we can skip right to the good stuff, the finishing process. This piece of walnut was incredibly dense. It was very hard and very, very heavy, much more so than most black walnut pieces I work with. And in spite of this, it was very, very thirsty. It kept absorbing more and more food. Every time it dropped a little bit off, it was almost instantly dry. And I don't necessarily see this as a bad thing. The more finish that gets over the more protected it's going to be. But it was just very, very surprising. As I went along, you can see the top there looks almost completely dry. So, kept adding more finish. You basically want to just saturate it, make it so the wood cannot accept any more finish. And after about 15 minutes, then you wipe off any excess. I wiped all the excess oil off the dining table, got that to the side, and got to work on the console table. And while I was doing these tables, I also repainted a set of toasters for these clients I'm going to throw into the crate and just have a nice little surprise and a little bit of a thank you for them being so patient. And for the desk, I had an extra special guest. This is Eric G. He is a local home improvement crew called Around the House with Eric G. And he asked if he could come film a segment. I said, I got to finish the desk. You want to watch that? He's like, yeah, absolutely. So we talked shop while I finished this desk. And if you want to need more information about him, I'll leave it in the video description as well. One of the silver linings from messing those first 3 tables up is if I would have finished those tables on schedule, that would have been before I had this N3 nano coating. And this is an absolute game changer for the woodworking world. This ups the contrast, it ups the sheet. And most importantly, it ups the protection. It's always the question that we ask, how do I use this every day with my family? If they have kids, if they have spills, if they have rude guests, this is the way. I've been doing a ton of tests with it. I was recently doing a water test where I had a side-by-side comparison of chip video versus video with the M3. And the water wouldn't even flow over to the side with the M3. It was really kind of a trippy effect. And it's something to put on. I do have a video that will run my other channel, Black Belt Studio Uncut. And it's something I think is going to change the way we finish moving forward. So here is the dining table first. This is some of the prettiest wood I've ever seen. I've never seen gray tones like this in walnut.
It's amazing.
Beautiful. Here is the door for your things.
That table has so much detail in it. That wood is just, yeah. That's just, oh, amazing.
Here is the desk. If you remember what made you requested to been so long.
I do. It looks great.
And this wood is from the same tree, but it doesn't have the gray in it, but it's got just a crazy amount of color and figure.
No, I love the flow of that. That's, yeah, beautiful.
Also, I had this piece that I built it for kind of a weird reason. If you are interested in that, I would love to include this at no cost. Just for you guys to be interested in sports. It's an end table.
And it was a end table.
So if you'd like me to include this in the crate, I'd be happy to. I love it. Yeah, it's big. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, the last one, your console table here. The biggest struggle of all 3 tables, at least in this version of all 3 tables. And it's hard to compare anything to the dining table, but I really like how this one turned out. Yeah, it looks beautiful. Okay. Are you ready for them?
Yes, sir.
Well, I applaud your patience. We applaud your work.
Yes.
Thank you guys again, and I'll be in touch. Thanks for the update, man. Every week I like to give a little bit of credit to people who make it all the way to the end of the video. So this week, start your question or comment with which table you like best, and I'll know you made it all the way to the end of the video. Have a great week. in there, the end table, end of beam, leg leveler, maintenance spray. I almost forgot, we're offering an industry maintenance spray that is a monthly refresh and refinish products looking new forever. Got the focus. The camera blocked out and this week I attempted to build my largest ever round table, but what starts with a lot of excitement definitely doesn't end that way. So I was up looking lab up for another commission table build I had, and I saw one of the wildest cookies I'd ever seen. And if you don't know the lingo, a cookie is just a cross section of a tree. And this one from a big giant rotted walnut tree, and I don't know why, but I just had to have it. So I paid it was $1,275. Got my other slab, got this slab, and just set it aside because I wasn't even sure exactly what I was going to do with it. I just thought it would make it a really cool table. And eventually what I decided to do was to collaborate with another local maker. So I am working with Courier Design on this particular build. He's a really, really talented craftsman. He's going to build a custom bent lamb wood base for it, and I am going to finish the top for it. Then our plan was to put it on eBay, put the profits, and just go from there. So this is where we're at. We just had a big, gnarly, nasty cookie, and now I have to try to make something out of this. There is a certain camp of woodworker out there that believes it is never acceptable to cut the edge off of a live edge table like this, and some people can even border on fanatics. They remind me of those anti-circumcision people outside the hospitals that are protesting, and I can tell you an edge that's cut can be much easier to clean. Some would say more hygienic. In my experience, women actually prefer it this way as well. When I first bought this slab, I planned on using the side with more cracks, more voids, more rust as the top of this table, and as I started working with it, I started second-guessing myself and thought that I should actually use the other side, but I'm glad that I put it up for an Instagram poll because the results were overwhelmingly for the side with all the cracks and voids and rot, and in the end, I think it was definitely the right choice, and I thank everybody on Instagram for participating because I probably would have made the wrong choice otherwise. And here's one wrong choice I did: is I was using a good old jigsaw boiler that was extra long and pushed extra hard, and I was double checking to make sure it was square, but I didn't realize I was just pushing way too hard and making a blade that was way too dull. So yeah, not the best circle you could ever see that from a jigsaw.
Ugh.